It is indeed my honor and privilege to introduce a lady who needs no introduction. And anytime that Governor Nikki Haley comes to Dorchester County, good things happen. I believe the last time the governor was here, it was to announce an expansion at Showadinko. So we're hoping that she's got an announcement for us here today. But just in case that she doesn't, we'll forgive her this time, so long as she brings one to us very quickly. As you know, Governor Haley is the first female governor and first minority governor in our state's history, and I think that bodes well for the future of our state and is an indication of the fact that the state is moving forward. So I know how hard Governor Haley works. I see her schedule emailed to me every day, and I think, oh my goodness, this woman is working hard to bring jobs to South Carolina. So in honor of Governor Haley, I wore my orange jacket today. And for those of us who are Gamecock fans, you know how painful this is for me to do. Without any further ado, I give you Governor Nikki Haley.
Tiger, but we are rooting for all of our South Carolina teams this week as we have a lot to talk about. I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. It is a great time in South Carolina. We are watching a lot of states go through a lot of challenges, but the number one priority we have, and the number one priority my administration has, is jobs. How do we get the most jobs in here as fast as we can? And I can tell you that the one thing we need to always do is remember to take care of the businesses we already have. If you take care of the businesses you already have, then you can suddenly make sure that they are the cheerleaders for the ones that come. And we showed that as a prime example a week ago when we announced the largest capital investment in South Carolina history, with Bridgestone bringing $1.2 billion in investment to expand their operations. 850 jobs just to start in the small town of Graniteville that had struggled so much since the train accident. It was a real shot in the arm for that area. But I will tell you, things like that don't happen by accident. What you have is a state that's working as a team. From our county councils to our economic development alliances to our courts to my Department of Commerce to the governor's office, we are constantly looking for opportunities. And what we see is that we are calling companies and saying, we want you to look at South Carolina, and they want to come. And the companies that we're talking to, they're high manufacturing, they're automotive, they're aerospace, they're research and development. It's every type of job we want to bring here. The goal of what we're trying to do is look at what do companies want. They want infrastructure. And we have seen with the ports, we're keeping the ports moving in a great direction. We're seeing the research on the dredging is going to happen, but what makes it even better is we've got a federal delegation that is working to have the Corps of Engineers look at these projects in terms of priority. And our Charleston port needs the least amount of work, will cost the least amount of money to get us up and going. So I'm working very closely with the federal delegation to make sure that moves forward. All of that is moving in a good direction, and that really has caught the attention of a lot of international companies. What we are seeing is that while the dollar is weak, international companies are looking to the United States to come. And they are looking at the Southeast, and we're trying to get them to look at South Carolina. Bridgestone's announcement was the largest investment they had ever made in North America, and they chose to make it in Aiken County, South Carolina. That says a lot about our state. So where do we go from here? The number one goal is we have to make sure that the cost of doing business in South Carolina continues to be low. The way we've gone about that is I replaced the entire DHEC board that handles all the health and environmental control permits, and the chairman of that DHEC board is the president of a construction company. So he understands more than anybody that time is money. And if you are costing a business time, you're costing them money, and that's unacceptable. We've done the same thing with all of our agencies. They are all business people. They understand that when a business needs something, they work for them, and that needs to start happening. We passed tort reform this past year. We were the only state in the Southeast that didn't have caps on punitive damages. To be able to pass tort reform and say we understand that process, that put us back on the map too, to show that we care about pro-business environment. So those things all matter when it comes to doing business, is we have to show companies that we understand they need cash flow. They need profit margins, because if you give a business cash flow and profit margins, they don't run and go on vacation. They hire more people. They expand their business, and that's the goal that we're having. The second thing we've been talking about, and it's gotten way more attention than we ever thought it would, is our fight with the National Labor Relations Board. Who ever thought that Boeing, which was a huge win for South Carolina, would come and create 1,000 jobs in our state, at the same time expand 2,000 jobs in Washington state? Not one person was harmed, not one. And the NLRB starts to sue Boeing and says they can't do that. It's the most un-American thing I've ever seen happen, and we're going to fight it every step of the way. What makes me incredibly proud, and what should make you proud, is we have Michelin, we have Boeing, we have BMW, we have Bridgestone, and we have no unions in those plants. We have the lowest, one of the lowest participations of unions in the country in South Carolina. And that is getting attention. So the more I get on national TV and the more I fight against the NLRB, the more companies start calling saying we want to look at South Carolina. There is a method to the madness. And what they realize is if we will fight that hard against the unions, then we will fight for them when they get here. And my conversations with Boeing, I will tell you, they are a stellar company. I have asked them not to settle this case. I've told them that I will continue to fight on behalf of every governor in the country if they will continue to fight, knowing that they are fighting on behalf of every company in this country. Because when they win this case, this will never happen to another company. But if they settle this case, then it's on to the next one, and that has to stop. And to Boeing's credit, it's costing them time, it's costing them money, but we will win. We absolutely will win this case. The next thing that we're working on in relation to lower cost of doing business and making sure that we have a right-to-work state is training, is our workforce. We have to make sure we have a workforce that's ready. And while we've been great at getting our workforce ready, we need to do more. And the reason is, I looked at my Department of Employment and Workforce and I said, how does this happen? We are announcing 2 announcements a week. Jobs are coming, and you're still telling me the unemployment number is going up. What is going on? 2 things. We have companies that need employees. We have people that need jobs. The only way to connect that is through job training. You are going to see us get very aggressive on a job training plan starting this January that's going to really take time to train our people and put them back to work. Because until we do that, we're not going to see that number come down. The reason the unemployment number has gone up is because we are seeing a group of people that we did not expect, that were retired, that suddenly realized they don't have enough money to retire off of. So they're having to get back into the workforce. The second thing we're seeing is we're seeing college students that have gotten out of college and they don't have jobs. They come into the workforce. And then we're seeing a third group of people that are excited by all the job announcements that we have, and they've given up on finding a job and they have joined the workforce. So while the unemployment number is going up, we have to continue to bring jobs. Since we started in January, we have announced over 13,000 jobs in the state of South Carolina. That's huge for our state. In a time where all of my colleagues in other states are struggling to bring any companies, we're bringing them. We just have to bring them faster. We have to bring them in a way that helps our workforce, but we also have to do it in a way that we're training our workforce to get to work quickly. The jobs that we've announced, they're not in Greenville, Columbia, and Charleston. They're in Jasper, they're in Union, they're in Marlboro. We announced a manufacturing plant in Denmark that brought 200 jobs. But in that town of 2,000 people, that makes a town when you can go and do that. That's what we're trying to do, is really focus on those rural areas. We're always going to have companies coming to the bigger areas, but when we can get into those rural areas, it really matters. And I will tell you that we're making progress. 13,000 is a great number to start. We want to have more. We're going to have more great announcements, but what I will tell you is that the future is bright in South Carolina. It is a great day in South Carolina. And I will tell you, I do have to talk to you about that because there's been some interesting commentary on the fact that I now have all my state agencies answering the phone saying, it's a great day in South Carolina, how may I help you? But the logic behind that was pretty simple. I know it sounds simple, and I know you think it doesn't matter. But South Carolina has a negative habit, or has a habit of being negative. The people in our state have been negative for a long time, and I'm trying to change that. There were two things I was trying to do with that. One is, I'm very proud of our state. I want everybody else to be proud of our state. When you are down the road and you're in a store and you happen to be saying something about our state, you never know if you're standing next to a CEO that's looking to bring business to South Carolina. You never know if you're standing next to somebody that's looking at buying a second home in South Carolina. We need to be positive. The second thing is, the how may I help you was really supposed to be the focus of that greeting. I wanted state employees to understand that the phone caller is who they work for. We work for the taxpayers. I made a promise to you early on that government was going to remember who it was that they work for. By answering the phone like that, it puts our employees in a good mood, makes them proud of who they work for, but it also reminds them that they are there to serve the cause. It's a small thing that will make a big difference. And so I started with my office. We did a test run before we announced it, and I had Miss Sheila do it. And I said, Miss Sheila, how did it go? And the first call, she said, it's a great day in South Carolina. How may I help you? And the person said, it is a great day in South Carolina. So I will tell you that what I do want to see is that we become a positive state, that we understand that we do have challenges, but we are going to overcome them. We are far better off than a lot of our other states, and we're getting ready to get even better. And as long as these manufacturing companies are coming to South Carolina, we will continue to do that. I talked to a company yesterday and a CEO from New York. He has a manufacturing company in New York. It's all they've ever known, and they're looking to come to South Carolina. And he said, I have to tell you, the only reason we are looking at moving everything we have is because of the leadership we're seeing in South Carolina. He said the regulations and the costs that we face in our state and the leadership and the movement we're seeing in South Carolina is something that all the companies are looking at. And we are talking to him about uprooting everything he knows to come to this state. And that's a great thing. So that's what we need to focus on. I'm incredibly proud of our Commerce Department. I'm incredibly proud of all of the agency directors in state government that are making a difference, that are really trying to understand the value of a dollar. But more than anything, they know that our priority is jobs and businesses and getting people back to work. So I know that you don't want to just listen to me talk. I would love to take questions from you on anything that you want to talk about based on the time that we have. How much time do we have? About 5 or 10 minutes. So thank you. You've been very kind to me. I appreciate it very much. And now we will open it up to any questions you've got on the floor. Was I that good? Did I hear you? No. All right. Well, thank you very, very much. We look forward to coming back to you. God bless you.
Governor Haley is a proud alumni, fellow alumni of the School of Accountancy of Clemson University, and on behalf of the town of Summerville and this Chamber of Commerce, I present you this small token of a gift. It's all mementos from the town of Summerville for you and your family. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you all. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sean Bennett, the immediate past chair of the Charleston Regional Development Alliance, to give us an update on what's going on with the Alliance.